Alright, try to do a pull here from first. I'm not gonna get a full. Woo! Almost lost it. Oh my god. Yep. There goes another one.
Yeah, I was asking for a chance, and I see you getting all right. I can't understand. Hey.
What is up, Matoir family? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. For those of you that don't know, my name is Antonio Matoir and I own a 2017 BMW 340i. So this video has been a long time coming. In my previous videos where I do POV drives, I have mentioned in a couple of them that my brake rotors I think are starting to warp or just getting bad, just for the simple fact that when I'm starting to brake nowadays, my steering wheel does shake a little bit. And it's just not a smooth stop overall, so I definitely think the rotors is behind that. And plus, since I've owned this car, I've owned it for about a year now, and I got it used, and I've never changed the brake pads or rotors. And when I did buy the vehicle, I noticed that the rotors were in pretty bad shape already. So I always planned on getting around to changing the rotors, but just haven't gotten to it until today. But if you guys are new to the channel, I do DIYs, reviews, POV drives, you name it. So if you guys like content like that, please consider subscribing to the channel. But yes, in today's video, I will be replacing the front brake rotors on my 340i. So huge shout out to R1 Concepts. They actually sent me out a pair of brake rotors for the front of the vehicle. If you guys need rotors or pads, go ahead and check them out. They have a huge selection of rotors as well as pads. You can get drilled only, slotted only, drilled and slotted, or you can just get some regular OEM looking ones. Not to mention that the rotors and pads are at a very affordable price. So if you guys are in the market for some rotors and pads, go ahead and check them out at R1 Concepts. But let's go ahead and take a look at what they sent me. Alright, so as you guys can see, I did go with the slotted and drilled rotors. I think they look really good. I didn't want to get the black coated rotors. I just wanted a nice silver look. I think they look super good, and it's going to be a great addition to the car, considering that this is how the current rotors are looking. As you can see, they're kind of like bumpy. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, look at that. Look at how worn they are. And they're not smooth. I don't know if the previous owner, when they got new brake pads or what the case was, they didn't bed them correctly, but from the outside all the way to the hat, it's just rippled. As far as the brake pads that I selected, they actually sent me out these new DFC Euro 5000 brake pads. They are ceramic. They are scorched pads, and as I mentioned before, they are ceramic brake pads, so we should get a little less brake dust. So unfortunately, they only had the front rotors in stock for my car, so I'm still waiting on the rear rotors, but when they do get the rear rotors in stock, they'll go ahead and send those right over. But for this video, we'll just go ahead and install the ones on the front. I also went ahead and ordered some wheel studs from keysmotorsports.com. The ones that are currently on my car are from my 428i. I actually took them off the 428i when I got this 340 and just transferred them over. So they are really old, really worn. So I did figure if I'm already changing my brake rotors and pads, I might as well change the studs while I'm at it. And for the wheel studs, I actually got some new nuts. So I actually got some of these black racing nuts. I think they look really good, and I think they're gonna look even better on the car. But with that being said, I don't want to make this video longer than it has to be, because I do want to go on a POV drive with you guys and just bed in these ceramic pads, as well as, you know, just have some fun with the new turbo. So let's get these rotors, pads, and wheel studs installed so we can get her out on the road. If y'all don't already got one of these, keysmotorsports.com. Protect your wheels. This is plastic right here, so it won't scratch up your wheels. So comes in handy. So yeah, look how rusty these wheel studs are. Pretty much all of them are like that. And when I take them out, you'll see that the part that's actually in the hub or the hat is pretty bad. So let me go ahead and get those out. Well, it just got broken off into here. These things are so rusted that they're having a hard time coming out. Broke the bit. I think I still have at least the Allen key, but if the bit couldn't get it out with the ratchet, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have a hard time getting it out with this too. So these studs will be a problem for later, just so we can move along with the video. I'm gonna go ahead and get this spacer off, as well as get the brake pads out and the caliper off. now that the pads are out, I'm gonna go ahead and take off the rotor. Also, there's this little clip that's holding in the brake pads. So as far as the rotor, there is 2 bolts on the back. I believe they're 18 millimeter if I'm not mistaken. Just make sure that you have something to hang the caliper from because you don't want the caliper hanging from the brake line. And learn from my mistakes, yo. Try to have both your wheels up at the same time so that way you can move this rotor. Makes it a lot easier when taking off bolts and whatnot, but either way it works. This comes off. Like I said, make sure you hang it. Also, when you're doing this, it's probably a good idea to switch out the brake pad sensor. R1 Concepts did not send me a sensor with this, I just realized. But like I said, if you guys do have the sensor to switch out, make sure you're switching out that brake pad sensor. But now that the caliper is off, we're gonna go ahead and remove this rotor. And there's literally just one tiny little bolt holding it in. So it's gonna be a size 6 Allen key. So now the only issue is getting this rotor off. Usually, especially if it's your first time changing your rotors, they're kind of like seized on there. So I'll probably use a mallet. And if the mallet doesn't work, probably use a hammer because at the end of the day, I won't need these rotors anyway. There we go. So spacer and rotor. So this looks pretty disgusting. It's very rusted. So I'll probably go ahead and take some soapy water, wire brushes, and just kind of clean it up a little bit before we put the new one on, just so that way we're putting it on a nice clean surface. So unfortunately, I hate to say it, but not only did I break my size 5 Allen key bit, but I bent the crap out of another Allen key. I'm gonna let this probably sit overnight with some WD-40. I'll go ahead and spray the other side as well, so that way that can also sit overnight. They're not budging right now. I'll probably go to the store and get another socket bit too, where I let it sit overnight. Hopefully it's a lot easier in the morning. All right, new morning, new bit. Hopefully this one doesn't break as well. Yep, there goes another one. So pretty much I just beat it with the hammer because like I said, I assumed that it's seized in here. So I just wanted to beat it, just kind of like break free anything that might be holding it in place. And it worked. Yo, look how terrible and rusted these look. Look at that. Disgusting. So I got the hub cleaned up as best as I could. Now we're pretty much ready to put the new rotor on. So pretty much you're gonna line up the new rotor, and obviously this little hole right here is where that bolt is gonna go to kind of hold it in place. And you're just gonna torque it down to 16 Newton meters or 12 foot-pounds of torque. Definitely don't want to over torque your rotors because you could over torque it and kind of make it angled to where you get uneven brake wear. Also, very important to point out, you always want to face these lines that are on the rotor towards the back of your vehicle. And if you're having trouble deciding which the left and which the right rotor, so it has an R, which represents the right side of the vehicle, meaning if you're sitting in the driver's seat, your right side, that's the right side of the vehicle. That's where this one's gonna go. The one with the L is for the left side. Thank you. Alakai's making a feature in the video. Alakai, say what's up to the people.
People.
So just a little comparison. The old brake pad. Looks like it still had a little bit of life in it. New and old. And it just slides right in. Then make sure you put this clip back. So pretty much how it goes. If you guys can see that. So it goes behind the first retaining clip that you put, and then this one down here, you're gonna kind of press it and then feed the next retaining pin through. So it kind of holds that with some pressure right there, if that makes sense. So that's pretty much it as far as the install. Make sure you spin this and make sure that it spins freely. You don't want any friction between the rotor and the brake pad. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the new studs in as well as clean up this caliper. Put the wheel back on. As far as the studs, I'm not gonna go too in depth on how to install these. I have another video of when I installed them on the 428i if you guys wanna check that out. But I did wanna show you guys just the difference. So this is the old stud, and then this is the new one going in. And as far as the nuts, these are the old nuts, and then these are the race nuts that we're going to be replacing them with. All right, so the wheel's torqued down, everything's torqued down, got the new studs in. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. So I think it looks really, really good. As far as the racing nuts, I don't know how I feel about them. I don't think my wheel has enough offset to come out. The rotor looks super, super good. I'm very happy with how that turned out. No more old rusty rotor. This thing looks a lot more aggressive. And I cannot wait to go ahead and get this thing broken in. With that being said, I'm pretty much just gonna repeat the same exact steps on the other side, and then we'll go ahead and go for a test drive. All right, y'all, so both sides are done. I do have to bed in the brakes. So pretty much what that means is going out on a test drive and then pretty much going a different series of speeds and stopping. So for example, I plan on going like 30 miles per hour 3 times, stopping, 45 miles per hour, stopping, you know, so on and so forth until we get to around like 60 miles per hour and then abruptly stopping about 3 times just to bed in the brakes so that way we don't have uneven wear. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'll bring you guys along with me. It is dark outside, so just one more reminder of what the rotors look like now because they will look different once I bed them in. So here, there they are. It kind of had like a flat finish to them, if you will. But after we're done driving, it's going to be a lot more shiny around that area. So obviously before you get going anywhere, you want to make sure to pump your brakes, because if not, you're going to try to hit the brakes and your brake pedal is going to go straight to the floor. So pump it a good couple of times. All right, that should be good. I'm going to start her up. And even after you start the car, pump it a couple of times. Pump up the jam, pump it up. I think mine are pumped enough. So right now what I'm trying to do is find a spot where I can bed my brakes. Pretty much want to find a nice straight road where there's not a lot of traffic, because like I said, you are going to have to accelerate and then come to stops, multiple stops. You don't want to be freaking anybody out pretty much. So I'm going to try to like take it slow until we get to the area that I want to get to, because like I said, I don't want uneven wear on my brakes. But pretty much how I'm going to do this is we're going to start by going like 35, 40 miles an hour and then hitting the brakes. So not super aggressive. We're just gonna come to like 5 miles per hour. Once we're at 5 miles per hour, go ahead and accelerate back up to 40 miles per hour. And then we'll just repeat this probably like a good 4 or 5 times. After that, we're gonna bump it up to like 50, 55 miles an hour. Do the same thing probably like 3 times. And then lastly, bump it up to like 65, 70 miles an hour, and then come to like a more aggressive stop about 3 times. After that, your brake pads are gonna be pretty hot, so you're gonna wanna kinda just coast somewhere and then find somewhere safe to just kind of put your car in park and then just let your brakes cool down, because you don't wanna come to a complete stop and pretty much embed your brake pad into your rotor. But this is the road that I planned on doing it on, and doesn't look like too many people are here, so that's good. So like I said, we'll kind of go up to 30, 35, and then stop. Or not stop completely, but come down to like 5 miles per hour. And then go back up to 35, 40. And then stop. Alright, now we're gonna bump it up to like 45, 50 miles an hour. Slow it down. Same thing. Alright, now we're gonna do some more aggressive stops. I'll probably get it up to like 70, 75. Do some aggressive stops. Damn, that turbo sounds good. So I'm gonna try to stay off the brakes as much as possible and kind of just coast into a parking spot, put my car in neutral, try to avoid hitting the brake. I can already smell pretty much the silver zinc burning off of the calipers. That's pretty much what it's coated in, and that's what I'm doing, is removing that silver zinc coating. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of come to a rolling stop right here, probably right under this light so I don't get murdered. And then now I'm just gonna give my brakes about 15-20 minutes to cool down, and that's pretty much it. But while we're waiting for the brakes to cool down, on a positive note, I didn't feel any shaking. My steering wheel wasn't shaking. There was no roughness when it came to braking just now. So that means that my rotors and or pads was the issue, and the front ones at that, because like I said, I didn't even touch the rear ones. So the front rotors were definitely the culprit when it came to my steering wheel shaking and just kind of feeling unsteady when I was coming to a stop. So I'm super happy that these rotors fixed that problem. And since these are slotted and drilled, they should have a lot more bite as compared to the stock rotors that I was running. Steering wheel shake is gone, so that was pretty much my main goal in installing these. Not only do I get the aesthetic look, but I don't have any shaky stops anymore, so I'm super happy. All right, y'all, so it has been about 15 minutes since the brakes have cooled, so let's go do some pulls. I try to do a pull here from first. I'm not gonna get a full. Almost lost it. Oh my god. This is ridiculous. Like, I definitely have to get some draggy time soon for you guys, because I'm telling you guys, this is ridiculous. The turbo sounds so good. That's another little pull for y'all. Oh, there, buddy. Ah, damn. Everybody, hold on to your britches. Alright, y'all, I'm back in the garage, and after driving around with the rotors, these brake rotors do feel a whole lot better than OEM. Like I said, my OEM ones were warped pretty bad, and they had like ripples going all the way down them. I still have to replace the rear ones, but like I said, once R1 Concepts gets those back in stock, they'll send them out to me and I'll go ahead and do the rears. But the front looks so good. So now I did want to show you guys what the rotors look like now that they're broken in and they no longer have the silver zinc coating on them. So check it out. So you can see the zinc coating is kind of just has come off, and now the only thing that's coated is the hat, and then the rotor itself is kind of shiny now. So I think it looks really, really good. The braking power is noticeably different. It's not like night and day difference, but you can definitely tell that it does stop a little quicker than the other ones did. I didn't have any issues with slowing the vehicle down after the brakes were even hot. So like I said, if you guys need brake rotors or pads, hit up R1 Concepts. They are super affordable and they have a huge selection to choose from. But just like that, that wraps up today's video. If you guys aren't already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing if you like content like this. I do reviews, DIYs, POV drives, you name it. If you guys like content like that, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you like this video or helped you out in any way, please give it a thumbs up. It helps me out tremendously. And as always, Matwire fam, remember your goals and don't stop till you reach them. Peace.
Excited just to see me, wish I felt the same way. Later on, she'll probably get a name change.